Obviously I thought that we had the competitiveness and connectedness we had on Tuesday night for parts of the game. I was disappointed we didn't have it as fully as we had it on Tuesday night. I thought for parts of the game that we did. But obviously we talk about all the time in this league, you got to play for 40. I didn't feel like we had enough of that today. Obviously, offensively, it's the flip of what we've been talking about. Offensively, our numbers were, other than turnovers in the first half, good enough to win. Our defense was not good enough. Certainly give them credit. I thought that, Banks' shot making at the end of the first half really opened the game up. I thought that Carr made some really tough shots in the guts of the game when we're, trying to mount the comeback that were big-time plays. And then obviously Stevens continued on his, tear today. I think that's 3 of the last 4 where he's been over 20 and continues to improve and get better. Thought our energy level in the second half, we made the comeback. I thought our young guys really spearheaded that. That was good to see Tijon and J. Cole and Kipper. I thought Fink was active on the glass. We need more out of our older guys, not from the standpoint of, whether they make shots or not, but more, I just thought the energy level, those guys could be better. They know that. And we need them to be better like they were on Tuesday night. Questions?
I just want to follow up on that point about the lack of energy or competitiveness. I know you said you're disappointed. I guess it would be one thing in maybe January to be seeing that, but I know like I said, you use the word disappointed, but just with the older guys, why is there this lack of urgency?
Yeah, I thought the older guys would be better, Shannon. They practiced well yesterday. They were great on Tuesday night, showed great resiliency, really competed. They just, again, I'm not trying to point to them. We're all in this together, but I just thought they could be a little bit better with the energy level. I thought Lucas had good energy level throughout. I thought J. Cole in the second half did. Thought Finke had it throughout. Black didn't play as many minutes today, but he kind of always has that. I just expect more, from those guys. It's certainly, I'm not picking on them. It's just reality. We need those guys to play with tremendous energy and be productive, for us to play well. And, for whatever reason, I just, from an energy perspective, thought they didn't have it as high a level as they did on Tuesday night. Tuesday night, obviously, they had it at a really high level. So, we'll take a look at it. And, I want to watch the film first. I always do that because sometimes you may feel a certain way after the game, and then you watch the film, and it's like, well, maybe not. You try the best you can to take emotion out of it and be as objective as you can. But that's kind of my gut feel. We'll take a look at it, and I'll know more here after I get a chance to take a look at the film.
Obviously he's had a phenomenal career, but hasn't yet been to an NCAA tournament game. Do you feel he puts a big burden on himself, and do you think that
You'd
affects
have to ask him that question. Obviously I don't want him to do that. He's got to control what's in front of him, and keep his mind clear and play. Obviously today he was pretty efficient shooting the ball, but thought he maybe tried to make a play or two that wasn't there, and they did a good job of defending him and made it hard on him. And I think he's played better. He'd be the first to tell you that. But, that's not how we want him thinking. Because, again, as I told you yesterday, you can't control that stuff. You can control what's in front of you. Now you can control his energy level today, competing, some of those things that Shannon was asking about there. But, you'd have to ask him, that question. That's certainly not what I want him thinking. I want him thinking about playing well today and, taking it one day at a time and controlling what you can control.
John, I may be off base on this, but just watching the game, it just looked to me like Penn State was a lot more athletic than your players. I mean, even the shots they were missing early, they were clear up in the air, and it looked to me like they were getting good shots that eventually started to fall.
Yeah, I think at some positions maybe, Lauren, and obviously one of their strengths is their athleticism. I think it's probably, good observation that you made there just in general. But I think that's, you don't see – I would say a team maybe that was comparable to them athletically that we've played was Florida State. I think they're really, really athletic. And Florida State's probably maybe a little longer on the perimeter. You'd have to gauge the heights and see how close I am on that. They may be a little
they're taller.
But Mike Watkins is as athletic as you'll see a five-man in the league. I mean, he's athletic. You know, he's really athletic. Stevens is athletic. Carr's athletic. They're long. They got size. You know, I've felt that way even going into game one. You know, it's a big reason why their defense is really good. But I think certainly, very fair to say that one of their strengths is their athleticism and their length and their size. And I'm not just talking about height. You know, sometimes height can be a little bit of a misnomer. If a guy's 6'3" and has a +6 wingspan, he plays bigger than 6'3". You know, and they've got a lot of those guys. So I think from an athleticism standpoint, I think your observation's pretty right on. I mean, I think they're really athletic, which is why they're one of the nation's best teams in blocking shots, and they get a lot of steals and deflections. They use that length and athleticism to their advantage.
Hey, Coach, back here. Just piggybacking a little bit off of what Shannon had said. Obviously, a disappointing loss, but for you, watching the way you guys are losing, where it seems like almost deja vu, where, again, late runs, first half, second half, can't really come back. How frustrating is that for you coaching this team to see that so deep in the season, still sort of the same issues for your guys?
Well, the hardest part is, Tuesday night we didn't do that at all. I mean, we were the opposite of that. I thought we were really resilient, really tough, competed. We're really connected. I thought we, really did that very, very well. And had we not done that for 40 minutes every possession, we wouldn't have won the game, on Tuesday night. So I know what they're capable of, and we got to do that more consistent. But you're right, like you're in February, and especially with older guys. And again, I'm not trying to pick on. I love our older guys, but I do expect a little bit more from them, in terms of that consistency in some of those intangible areas. And they had it on Tuesday. It was a big reason why we won, And today they had it for parts. Certainly did, to come from 20 down to cut it to 5. I mean, that group had a lot of energy and played with a lot of competitiveness. But I want to see it for 40 minutes, more consistently. So that's just kind of, where it's at. We just did it on Tuesday night,
It's been since late February, early March 2015 since you've been able to string consecutive regular season Big Ten wins together. Is there something that's just missing where you can't turn a positive like Tuesday at Northwestern and build off of that in the next time out?
Well, I don't know. Again, you're asking me to look in a rearview mirror. I told you I don't do that. I'm more focused on today's game. I'm not thinking about 2015, 14, 13, 12. That doesn't register with me right now. What I'm talking about right now is what we got to get done today. And I just thought in the game today, coming fresh off that, I just felt like again, our energy level, our connectedness was good in parts, but it needs to be more consistent.
Beyond that part, the connectedness, and maybe that's the reason for what I'm going to ask, but just after that 14-0 run, they had the back-to-back three-point play. Then, what did you see just strategy-wise that unraveled there?
Yeah, well, obviously, Tracy makes that shot to cut it to 5, and I just told Dion downstairs I was that close to calling a timeout. The reason I didn't is we're on a 14-0 run. We got the momentum, and basketball's such a game of momentum. And then Peyton Banks, we foul him within 5 to 10 seconds after that. Shannon on an M1, so it takes it from 5 to 8. We come down, miss a good shot, and then we foul Stevens on a drive, and it goes to 11. So it went from 5 to 11 in a very, very short period of time. So hindsight's always 20/20. If I'd have known he was going to get an M1 and I wasn't going to disrupt the 14-0 run, I may have called a timeout. But that's easy to say when you know what happened now. I didn't know that then. But that was the reason why I didn't, because I thought, man, we got a lot of momentum. Thought the crowd was into the game. The last thing I wanted to do was kill that myself. So it's always that those are decisions you got to make on the fly, and that was the reason behind it. And as long as there's a reason behind it and it's valid, then you got to roll with it. I mean, it is what it is.
played the same A guys today that pretty much you did at Northwestern. Was that just a matchup again, or is you may seeing that group as what's maybe working the best?
Well, I think a little bit of both, Scott, in terms of the minutes as they were distributed today amongst the 8 guys. Part of it was matchups and who they were playing. They were a little unique today because Julian Moore wasn't available. So when they didn't have Watkins in the game, their 5-man was Lamar Stevens, who's really be like playing Kipper Nichols at the 5. So that made it a little unique. So that affected a little bit of the distribution of the minutes. But in terms of the guys who played, part of that was because we'd just come off a Tuesday night and then we had practiced really well, with those rotations and lineups the last couple of days. And, so we played probably as complete a game, certainly in league play Tuesday night, as we had played all season. So that was a big part of it. I thought those guys had earned it and deserved it. And we'll take a look at the film and see where we go from here. Thanks, guys.